Today we're having fun on Sketchbook. 1 hour and 30 minutes of fun, condensed for your viewing pleasure into less than 10. It's more satisfying to watch a speed drawing anyway. Well, hello there, I'm Détroit. I'm using a cross fountain pen, which adds to the satisfaction of a good abstract speed draw because it feels very good and fluid, both the fountain pen and the ink itself. I mean, it's normal that the ink would feel fluid. I wouldn't be comfortable with ink that felt chunky, like old milk left in the back of the fridge from God knows when. That's a gross thought. Subscribe if you don't like chunky ink either. I'm drawing the outline of a few faces on the page. Just a few lines to define the main features, but it's basically a starter point for abstract art. The faces just define the canvas I'm drawing on, but I'm neither emphasizing the faces nor drawing them in patterns. I want the drawing as a whole to feel abstract, but the more you look at it, the more you realize there are faces in there. Because you're watching the drawing process, the faces are obvious to you, but I wonder what people who haven't seen the process would think, how long it would take them to recognize eyes and noses here and there. Abstract art is a spectrum. It can be fully abstract or still have recognizable features. It's art anyway, you can do whatever you want. I was talking about that with a friend and colleague the other day, just about what is really art and what is almost cheating. I was of the opinion that art was both the artwork and the thought process going with it. For some artworks, it's really easy. For example, if you look at a romantic painting, the art is obvious. But for some modern art, like huge monochromatic canvases, I would argue that the entire series is the art rather than a single square of red. You know what I mean? Hell, there are even artists who literally squirt paint from their ass on a canvas. The picture itself isn't anything particular, it's the concept that makes it unique. And just so you know, I'm not a fan of anal painting, I think it's ridiculous. Abstract art has always faced naysayers and skeptics. Even a child could dip a brush into colorful paint and throw it at a paper panel. The end result would be the same as a lot of modern art. I do agree with that. Sometimes the explanation does convince me that it's worth more than just that, and sometimes it's just a case of, yeah, I don't know what I was doing and that's it. I don't like that. I think it's lazy. I personally like art that makes you want to look longer at it just in case you find something interesting inside. This is why I draw intricate designs with densely packed patterns. I can hide symbols and such within and you wouldn't know unless you took the time to appreciate it. In this case it's more obvious than that, but the faces are still hidden a little bit. Anyway, that was my wisdom of the day on the topic of abstract art. Abstract art has this improvised feel to it, which is something I like in general. I'm a very routine-y person, so the spurs of improvisation and being in the moment make it all worth it even more. I know it doesn't make sense to you, but don't worry about it. For example, I listen to music almost all the time, but it's mostly always the same songs. Depending on my mood, I will cycle between different playlists, and they still have hundreds of songs each, but in comparison to what the whole of humanity has to offer, it's really not a lot. And sometimes, to mix it up, I will trust the YouTube algorithm to provide me something fresh and entertaining. It's mostly jazz and funky music. That funky chunky is what I enjoy the most, I believe. When the improvisation is at its purest and you can really feel the inspiration distill raw in the sound. Solos, jam sessions, scats, anything new is welcome, and that's when I really feel the groove inside of me. It's also what inspires me a lot. Like, I hear a really good saxophone solo on a powerful groovy bass, and I want to take some ink and let the patterns emerge. Improvisation is an incredibly universal constant in art. And not only art. For example, I am a huge fan of puns and jokes, and with my close circle of friends we'll simply keep pushing each other and improvising in such a way. I guess it is also an art of some kind, but in my mind it's a bit different. Eventually on this variety channel I want to be able to explore all sorts of art, but I don't think comedy will be one of them. It's completely outside of my set of skills, at least for now. I'm not as interested in it. It's not the kind of writing I'm doing anyway. By the way, I started thinking about the novel recently. I probably already talked about it a bit in a previous video, but honestly I don't remember what I talk about half of the time. It's gonna be a fully fledged novel, probably young adults fantasy genre. I've had the original spark of an idea a month ago, but it took quite some time to distill it into something acceptable. Over time, a few individual ideas coalesced and merged together to make something that was complete enough. That's always the first part of the process. It is still all in my head at this point. It's all in ideas form. I would even dare say it's unconscious. Shower thoughts. And once it's full enough is when I start noticing the storyline and world building. Still in the shower though. Writing on paper or typing the idea tends to make it too real, and then it's hard to detach from it. I only start writing words when I'm sure it's good enough. You wouldn't want to stick to a garbage idea and spend time and effort on it for nothing. So now I am at the point where I have a text file open and I have written the storyline and a basic concept of it all. What I'll do soon is start writing questions around it. For example, why does this event need to happen? Or how does character A knows this? Etc, etc. This ensures the plot makes sense and helps avoid plot holes. After that, I will tell the concept to a few friends and have them find the holes I missed myself. I can also get their feedback on what feels cheap or boring so I can change it. What comes after? Honestly, I'm not too sure. I think I will stop planning the novel when I'm happy with the outline, the world building and the timeline. The rest will fill in when I write. I'm used to writing things as they come to me without plotting too much. As long as the skeleton is good and you know where the organs will go, you can pretty much add all the rest and see where it takes you. It's very much like a drawing. The final piece will only be as good as the sketches, no matter how much you render it. But if you plan the render too much in advance, it will end up feeling stiff and unnatural and lacking expression. And that's where you go back to improvisation and the lucky surprises that can come along the way. That's a nice loop we got ourselves into today. I'm happy with that. Show that drawing to a friend and see how many faces they can spot. You can find this drawing, but also artistic photo angles of it on my Instagram at d3_sd. Check it out. Subscribe, like and comment. Tell your parents D3 said hi, and I'll see you in a few days. Bye!